Welcome to this week's edition of the Cheap Pop Podcast with K Double and Alpha. Boys, take it away. Hey, what's up, y'all? As I start every show, it is a brand new day, and I am here with the man with the capital A, Young Alpha. How we doing, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back again, once again. This time we're not talking about no wrestling. We're going to be talking about some comics and some movies. And right now we're going to be talking about some fucking shows.
Hell yeah. And everybody knows that the hottest shows on television right now really are anything and everything that's coming out on Disney Plus.
Fucking right.
WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, like all of them just bomb. And I don't mean bad, I mean boom, like they blew up. So now comes the story of the Avenger everybody forgets. The man named Hawkeye. Episode 1 and episode 2 dropped just this past week. Episode 3 drops tomorrow. And let me tell you this, highly impressed. Great 2 opening episodes. I think it was an amazing way to introduce us to Kate Bishop. Of course, I believe they're vastly altering her origin from the source material.
Absolutely.
But bringing it into the MCU, they had to give her an MCU origin, and I thought they did a really good job of that at the beginning of that episode.
That is very true.
Even though I looked at my daughter while we watched those episodes, and I looked at her and said, "You would never do that. Your ass would be cowered somewhere." And she's like, sitting under a table or something, just waiting for shit to stop. And she's just like, like,
pretty much.
Glad to know you learned well. Daddy taught you well. But yeah, like that whole scene where she's running out through all the rabble. Daddy, huh? No, my daughter be sitting there underneath the table. Daddy,
nope.
Daddy. But needless to say, it gave us a very exciting opening to what turned out to be a thrill ride for the first 2 episodes, which the episodes are 40 minutes apiece. So you got basically two small movies there. So what are your thoughts on the introduction to Kate Bishop and Hawkeye's reluctant return to being a superhero?
I actually really like Kate Bishop as a character, only because she's kind of made me realize something that I didn't really realize before. I've come on here and I've talked a lot before about how they're setting up the Dark Avengers, like very blatantly, or some form of, especially through this show Hawkeye, actually, and we'll get to talk about that later on. But through characters like Kate Bishop, I have been able to see that they could just as easily now set up for the Young Avengers, in the form of Kate Bishop. We can now set up for Hulkling, since we have kind of confirmation of the Skrulls in the MCU, in the form of the end of Captain Marvel and the entirety of Captain Marvel, actually, right?
Yeah.
And we can set up a whole load of other characters, Wiccan and Speed, which are the children of Wanda and Vision.
Yep.
The twin boys.
WandaVision. Yep.
And then lastly, now we can actually set up Iron Lad, because you know who Iron Lad is, right?
No.
Iron Lad is the
kid from Iron Man 2, right?
No. Iron Lad is the pre back in time version. He's basically the younger version, like the 20-year-old version of Kang the Conqueror before he became Kang the Conqueror. So technically, we could set up with Iron Lad, because Kang the Conqueror is now canonized as well.
Very true.
That's a whole load of big fucking web. But in short, TLDR, Kate Bishop has made me realize that they could just as easily set up for the Young Avengers as they have for the Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
So as a whole, regardless of the shape or form, I do enjoy seeing Kate Bishop here.
Heck yeah.
And I love the light of the character of Ronin being referenced, not Ronan, Ronin.
Yes. Like, and that was the great thing about it, was that when she gets into the situation where she begins to where she puts on the Ronin outfit basically to keep her, because she's at a party she shouldn't be at. Exactly. And some bad things start happening, and she wants to be able to help without without exposing who she is, and so she puts on the
Exactly.
Ronin outfit, and it was very well done. Who's it? Haley Steinfeld is her name.
Haley Steinfeld. Yep.
Haley Steinfeld, great actress. She plays the
Fucking
hell out of the
killer.
part. Her awestruck when she meets Hawkeye, when he saves her ass from being killed by the tracksuit mafia.
Tracksuit mafia.
Precious. That's what they call them. But real quick before we move on to our other subjects for this half, the appearance of Echo at the end of episode 2.
The appearance of Echo
was very huge. So I can't wait to see what they do with that character moving forward. Good times are coming, y'all. I think it's 8 episodes, so we got another 6 weeks worth of Hawkeye before It's over. So I believe that'll carry us into the new year, like January. So enjoy Hawkeye.
Easily.
We'll come back to it next week or in 2 weeks when we have another 2 fresh episodes or 1 or 2 fresh episodes to work with. All right, so let's talk about this most recent. We got No Way Home coming out in about 2-3 weeks. The entire time my daughter was here, I kept calling it Far From Home. Just too many home. You had Homecoming, Far From Home, and now No Way Home.
There we go. Took me a minute to get that too.
Let me say this. Have you seen Venom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We didn't get to review it.
Yes,
but I did see Let There Be Carnage, and it was fucking amazing.
It was amazing. We'll get to reviewing that on the next episode.
And of course, at very least, so we have to talk about the Endgame credit scene, because that does bridge into our talk here right now.
Right. I pretty much, after watching all of the trailers, here's the one thing that got me, and I think I said this, I think I thought this the same. Watching the No Way Home trailers, it almost like was blaring, slapping me in the face, obvious that Venom was about to appear in the MCU. The minute that Doctor Strange said they all died fighting Spider-Man in their own universe, I was like, well, Venom's going to come in. It was just a matter of, are they going to bring Venom, the new Venom, or are they going to try to bring back Topher Grace's Venom? Like it was just a matter of which one they were going to do, because obviously Venom's going to show up there. So it was one of those type of things where that was kind of the tip off for me. So the end credit scene in Venom it surprised me, but it didn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you said, we'll get to Venom in a couple of weeks. I love that movie. I've actually watched it twice since I bought it.
It's so good. Fucking
yes,
Woody Harrelson fucking murdering it as he fucking does.
Always.
Fucking oh my god.
Even had me looking up who Shriek was.
I love this version of Shriek. We won't get into it a lot here, but I will say I like the MCU version of Shriek better than I like comic book version Shriek.
There you go.
Good though.
But yeah, hold up. Ooh, I'm sorry, I switched this on subjects a little early. We may have enough time to do Let There Be Carnage then.
We'll back around, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll come back around.
We'll back around.
But I'm loving what I'm seeing. We got Doc Ock, we got Sandman, we've got Electro, all being shown in the things, all being played by the original characters that they played, that played them in the Tobey Maguire and the Andrew Garfield universe. I wonder if they're going to throw in a couple of villains, like surprise villains that maybe we haven't seen in the trailer yet, like Croc. I wonder if Croc's going to show up. But
you mean Lizard Man?
Yeah, Lizard Man. My favorite scene from my favorite scene from the thing so far is when Doc Ock has him hung upside down and he's pulled off the mask and he's like, "You're not Peter Parker." And he's like, I don't know what's going on here, in that classic Tom Holland, like, goofy way. He just has no clue, like, who the hell this dude is.
What is going on?
Exactly.
That's great.
Another one that I wondered, and I think the only reason why they didn't bring him back was because of his whole thing with the sexual harassment claims and all that, was James Franco. I was wondering whether or not they were going to bring him back as the Goblin, or if they were going to do William Dafoe, and obviously they ended up going with William Dafoe. Yeah. But I was like, I wonder if they're going to bring back whatchamacallit, and that was before
exactly
this. But obviously now, with the movie being made, they didn't, and they're not.
Exactly. But I did remember something though. I just completely forgot. Another point to my Young Avengers point, really quick. was I did see an interview, and it was Haley Steinfeld and the one of the directors in Marvel, forget his name, but the interviewer says, I forgot what they said, but they said they asked a question about the Young Avengers, and Haley Steinfeld just stops and turns around and looks at the director behind her, and they both have like this surprised look on her face, as if to be asking, like, "Am I allowed to talk about this yet?" So,
hey, we could be
just saying,
but I think I was right there with you with Dark Avengers, because isn't what's his name from Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Okay, let's talk about that. I'll run through that lineup as we did before. Remember, it's fucking John something. What the fuck is his name?
John Walker was the name.
John Walker. John Walker, as it goes in the end, becomes U.S. Agent, who is Dark Avengers Captain America.
Yeah.
Then we have Elena Belova, who becomes the Dark Black Widow.
Okay.
Then we already have her. Both of those characters are only seen together in light with fucking Contessa, or whatever the fuck her name is, from the formation of the Dark Avengers. Fuck, I had another one. Who the fuck was it?
Was Kate Bishop a member of the Dark Avengers or no?
No.
Okay. So based on their current thing, this would be kind of a curveball and all of that. That they didn't get a chance to do. And by the way, guys, next episode we will be coming back to talk the finale of What If. We were off air when that happened, so we never got a chance to talk that, but we'll be coming back. I got to go back and rewatch it so that it's fresh in my memory before we do that episode. But we will have to go back and rewatch it.
But going back to Spider-Man though, there's a few things that I have bits and pieces of. Of course, going through the trailers, Marvel has a tendency to go through their trailers and edit out things that they don't want in there. And if you look at certain shots of the trailer, you can kind of see where they have easily edited out different Spider-Men. And that sounds a little bit asinine at first, until there was another interview where Tom Holland, famous for releasing spoilers as he fucking does, was watching the trailer, and in the middle of the shot that everybody's seen where the Spider-Men are leaping at the Sandman and Lizardman is kind of jumping in too, Holland is watching that shot, and he goes, "Wait, where's the?" And then he stops and cuts himself off right there.
Ooh, dirty Marvel, dirty Marvel.
Tom Holland, the little cheeky bastard he is. But going forward, my own personal theory, and I've had people ask me before, like, do you think we're gonna see James Franco's Hobgoblin? Like, or do you think we're gonna see like Kirsten Dunst's version of MJ? And to those things, I'm like, no, I don't think we're gonna see them. Not just because it's like, oh, they're not high profile, but because the rule of what we're seeing is every character that we're seeing is someone who is destined to face off with Spider-Man.
Right.
Whether in any way, shape, or form, it's people destined to face off with Peter Parker, no matter what. Right. And that is Otto Octavius. That is Norman Osborn every single time. That is the Sandman. That is fucking Kurt Connor's Electro. Electro every single time. And I fucking love Electro's OG redesign. It's fucking great. It looks fucking amazing. And more importantly, he's from New York, so he's got Electro Tims. It's fucking great. He's got fucking, if you look at his fucking character design, he's got fucking Tims on. It's fucking amazing.
Hell yeah.
But see, we have something though that I do believe, I do want to run a small theory though.
Okay.
With the entirety of No Way Home. So I feel like obviously there's one thing we're missing when you line up all of these characters, and of course they all have relations to the Sinister Six, including Venom. And there's someone who's in very high relation with the Sinister Six that we're missing in this entirety of the lineup, who could easily come back from the dead.
Vulture?
No,
who?
Mysterio.
True, huh?
And so my theory here is, because Marvel has done swerves just like this before, especially in the case of characters like Pietro Maximoff in Vision, I'm going to bring up the idea of what if the different Spider-Men in this movie end up being complete mirages by Mysterio by the end of the movie, and him revealing himself as brought back from the dead, much like literally every other fucking villain in the movie.
Huh. That would be an interesting twist. That would
because
be an
they're
interesting
hyping up
twist.
both of the OG Spider-Men here, but not showing
Right.
them. And of course, they could easily be pulling that, but that's a swerve that would be so fucking easy to pull, considering Mysterio is completely missing from this with no explanation.
Oh my goodness.
Despite the fact that Mysterio was indeed also teased in the Maguire Spider-Man movies. He was. The guy who is Mysterio under the mask was played by Jesus fucking Christ. Slips my tongue every time.
Not Jake Gyllenhaal.
Not Jake Gyllenhaal. What the fuck? Yeah, no, not Jake Gyllenhaal. The guy from Evil Dead. Jesus fucking Christ. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, really?
He was Bruce Campbell. If you go through all of the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, you can see he's the guy who plays Mysterio under the mask. And there's all of these different nods about him playing odd jobs and then eventually becoming Mysterio, but wasn't able to pull the trigger on that because it was fucking canceled.
Wow.
So even then, it was alluded to that Peter Parker and Mysterio will fucking collide.
Hell yeah.
And now he's just completely missing. Like, nah, I don't believe that. Fuck that.
All right. So one final subject as we wrap up the last about 3 to 5 minutes here before we go to break. I'll say there's a rumor out. Well, not a rumor. Marvel and Sony have confirmed that they have 3 more Spider-Man movies in the works. According to their sources, they would like to have Tom Holland. I've read one contradictory report. Like I said, I have a rule of 3, so I can't confirm this is solid information. I've seen the Marvel thing announcement on like at least 6 different like comic book sites, etc. So I can consider that basically fact that Marvel and Sony have planned for 3 more movies.
Yeah.
I've read at one place that Tom Holland may not be desired to come back and continue to play Peter Parker. Now, they very well could continue the series with Miles Morales. But Sony and Marvel want to do 3 more Peter Parker movies. And they've specifically said Peter Parker. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe right now. I don't want to get my hopes up that we're going to get 3 more with the immaculate, amazing, awesome Tom Holland. But I can also understand that him, just like RDJ, just like Chris, not Chris Pratt, he's that Star-Lord, Chris Evans, etc. Scarlett Johansson, they don't necessarily want to get pigeonholed to always playing this role for the rest of their lives, no matter how much money they could make doing it. You know, they're actors. They want to extend themselves out to do other things. So I could see him not wanting to continue on. He's done like almost 5 years of Spider-Man at this point.
It is. It's about 5, 6, 7 years of Spider-Man by now.
So it would be pretty fun to see if they would switch over to Miles Morales and continue telling their stories, but with Miles Morales as the main Spider-Man. But go ahead and wrap up the last couple of minutes with your thoughts on these conflicting reports.
You know, I've been seeing the same kind of conflicting reports, and I think that I can't really predict anything that's going to happen. Honestly, there's so many open ends that could be happening, especially with this movie. You know, like probably with this upcoming movie, we'd be able to determine what's going on next. But
very true.
It's so hard to predict. But I'm open to a lot of different ideas. You know, if Tom Holland were to drop it for a short period of time, and we were to focus on someone like Miles Morales, that would only make sense. And I would be completely fine with that, whether in an animated or if it were able to happen in a live action sense. You know, that would be fucking amazing. If it were somehow possible through this for Tom Holland to take a break from or stop being Spider-Man, and then Andrew Garfield pick it back up, I think that'd be fucking awesome. That'd be fucking insane. Awesome. Like I'm open to a lot of different ideas like that. But that being said, it's like, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't blame him. Even you said it yourself, even people like Chris Evans and RDJ eventually took hands off, and after about 9-10 years of being Iron Man and Captain America, just fucking dropped it, rightfully so.
He said it's time. You know, it's time for me to move on. Like, I've done this for long enough. You know, and like I said, as an actor, that completely and utterly makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all right, we're on our last 15 seconds here, this first half. So let's wrap this up. You guys are listening to or watching the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on YouTube, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Thanks for listening in, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Howdy, folks. This is Double KK Double here. I'm here to tell you all about the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. On this network, we have a plethora of shows going on, sometimes once a month, sometimes every other week, sometimes once a week. It's all kinds of schedules going on around here. But what we're going to start with is the Now versus Then Network. Now versus Then is comprised of a man by the name and co-founder of this particular network by the name of the Saint and his collective of hosts that help him bring to you the hottest topics, bring to you some of the greatest discussions, and bring to you some of the greatest music, independent music on the West Coast, hell, possibly even on the East Coast. So check out the Saint on Now versus Then. Now versus Then West, and Now versus Then Deuce. These shows air on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. or Monday nights right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network on Spreaker.com and or live 365 starting here in the next couple of weeks. All right, so the other part of the 4Aces Presents Radio Network I wanted to tell you about was a show by the name of the Mr. Deacon Experience. Starring Mr. Deacon himself. Deacon takes you on a ride talking about his Browns, talking about sports, talking about some of the hottest topics within the communities that surround us on a weekly basis, on a regular basis, I should say. So tune in to him on Saturday nights at 8. Now, the next part of the network is a few shows, some of which you may recognize, some of which are right here on YouTube, and that is the Double K Double Network. That will be 4 shows starring me and a bunch of my other hosts, doing everything from sports to music. Let's start out with Double K's Classroom, which is my bi-weekly show where I talk sports and some of the hottest topics in sports. Like this week, I touched on the A-Rod situation, John Gruden situation. So be sure to tune into that on Friday night at 8. But every Friday night we have a show, but we will be alternating between Spreaker and Live 365. Double K's K-Double, or Double K's Classroom will air on Spreaker every Friday night at 8. Or every other Friday night at 8. In the weeks in between Double K's Classroom, we will have KD5P. K-Double's 5th period music class, the show that will bring to you music from multiple generations, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s on Live 365 every other Friday at 8 p.m. So be sure to tune into those shows. The next show that we have is the Cheap Pop Podcast. The Cheap Pop Podcast airs right here on YouTube as well as on Spreaker.com. It's a weekly show that alternates between talking pro wrestling and everything involved with that, from WWE to AEW, etc., to talking movies, entertainment, comic books, television shows, animated television shows, etc. You think about it, we probably talk about it. So that's on Sundays at 5 p.m. And then every other Sunday, the final show on this network stars me, The Duel, and Heather O'Malley, which, by the way, Cheap Pop Podcast also stars Alpha, a young man out of Sacramento. All right. And then, yes, the West Coast Bias with me, The Duel, and O'Malley talking sports every other week right here on the 486 Presents Radio Network. We go on live at 6 p.m. And yeah, so you guys be sure to tune in to the 486 Presents Radio Network. And be sure to keep watching the YouTube show that you're probably watching right now if you're seeing this video. So hi. Get back to it with either Double K's Classroom or the Cheap Pop Podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying. Peace. And we are back, y'all. That's right, me, this pretty face, this oh so sensuous voice that you're hearing here is not King Woods. It is only Double K. So we'll touch on that next week. What I'll say, and with me as always is my brother from another mother, the one and only Alpha. Brother, let's get to this. Let's get to this. For those of you out there who have lived under a rock for the past about 8, 9, almost decade, there was this little game. It was a little game, just a little nationwide, like worldwide phenomenon game called League of Legends.
Small time MOBA.
Yeah,
probably never heard of it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, from what I've heard, I've never played the game myself. Compelling characters, good gameplay. If you had a good enough system, at least good gameplay, and definitely an addictive aspect to the game, kind of like World of Warcraft, etc. That people just love to come home and play. So
yeah, it's hard to explain. In mechanic and in style, it is an isometric top-down MOBA would be the ultra technical term for it.
I was gonna say, now describe tell our level 1 listeners what a MOBA is.
Exactly. What the fuck is a MOBA? It's an acronym that I completely forget what the fuck it means, but it's multiplayer online something. Yeah. All right. But MOBAs are wildly heralded as some very, very hard games with some very, very harsh communities. League of Legends is at the top of that list in both of those fucking cases. It is it's not the easiest game, nor is it the most welcoming game. Yeah. But I will say, in terms of functionality and lore wise, I was instantly captivated. I was a League of Legends kid. Yeah. I haven't played it in a long time, but I was into it real fucking deep, and I'm pretty well acquainted with the lore. And of course, that's going to be a driving talking point of this little small review of Arcane going forward, is that I'm pretty well acquainted with the lore, whereas my buddy here, not so much. So we're gonna have two different perspectives on what we're seeing here.
Yep. And let me tell you this. I only came across Arcane because of hype. I saw the commercial. I believe I was watching it on Hulu one day, and it was like before I'd already been seeing small little commercials, but then I saw this one longer commercial. It was like before the season finale drops, and I'm like, oh, so it's almost over, huh? I was like, maybe I should tune in so I can catch up, and I was like, oh, it's on Netflix. All right, I got Netflix. Let me go ahead and jump on here. From episode 1, completely and utterly captivated. Just to give you guys a little insight, my daughter is a 13-year-old. She does not stay focused on anything for very long. And this show had this little girl captivated. And also, bro, we got to get to talking about, while we're on Netflix, real quick, the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2.
We'll go back to that. We'll
get back to that. But Arcane, the story of these two girls, I had no clue I could see how they were, or how they were initially watching. I could see how they were together as far as sisters, but I didn't know how we got to this point. I saw the opening sequence, which bravo and big ups to fucking Imagine Dragons for that
fucking
track.
Killing it again.
Oh my God, that track is so damn tight.
God, it's so good. And I do this is also very important. I very much enjoy seeing that because Imagine Dragons has done all of League of Legends music work since its inception. Go back
Really?
and watch some League openings from 2014, 2015, some like peak League of Legends years, and you'll see all of their openings are done exclusively by Imagine Dragons. So to
That's
see them
beautiful.
also do the intro for this was really cool. Seeing them keep with the loyalty on that. That was really fucking dope.
And just to skip ahead real quick, that episode where the band was
Oh my
doing
god, when they had
that
the
was
they canonized Imagine Dragons in League lore. That's fucking it.
that was just so savage. But back to episode
Yeah.
one, I'm introduced to these two characters, Vi and Powder is what her name began to be, or began as. And I watched a very, very close relationship take place. And a father-like figure who was willing to do whatever it takes, pardon my, pun there with Imagine Dragons, to protect his daughters, his pseudo daughters, because they weren't actually his kids. Her parents died in the battle at the very beginning
Yes.
of the episode. But yes, I was just taken aback. I was taken into the story of these two sisters and how different they had become, over the years. With Vi definitely taking on that adult, I'm the head of the family type role now, and being very protective of her little sister. And as that relationship grew, I just became more and more wrapped into it. And I want to say, it's episode 4 or episode 5 when they end up killing Vander, who, by the way, went out like a
Vander
fucking
Vander
champ.
Vander
Huh?
dies by episode like 3.
3? Okay. But yeah, Vander dies like a fucking champ. Like, I was just like, damn, dude, took the juice and was just like, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
leave him alone. Even though she
Vander's
was a
so
straight up,
fucking god. Mm-hmm.
she was a straight up Gito. She walked out of that safe room with those fists on and was like, all right, let's go.
Fucking go. Yep.
It had him. um, the action
Exactly.
sequences, the animation on the
Fucking
action sequences.
incredible.
Oh, so
What I
beautiful and
say is
amazing.
there's a lot of things that are animated fights nowadays that don't have proper impact the way things hit. This show has proper fucking impact. When someone gets shot, it fucking looks like it. When someone gets hit by fucking Vi's power fist, it looks like she's gonna fucking turn their skull to mush. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about impact and the way the camera work is done with it, and it's bueno. It's great.
Muy bueno.
Everything looked
Muy bueno.
impactful. It looks impactful. It has a snap to it. You know what I mean? Nothing looks disappointing.
And I love storytelling wise how everything had a purpose.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. See, I love the way things are written here, is because of course in League we have someone like me who sees the characters that these people are gonna eventually become.
Right.
And so there is that. But I noticed something about the format of this, and I don't know how to word it other than the things in the story, the events of the plot happen because of the world around it, rather than the world being built around the events that happen.
Right. No,
The
100%.
characters are connected not in a linear straight line, but if you're trying to connect every character to one another, it's more like a big long web rather than it is a linear line. And that's
Right.
really
No.
fucking good. So it leads to multiple different types of storytelling. So our main character is not Jace or Jinx or Vi. It's
Yeah.
kind of all of them.
Yep. All at the same time. And then you had
Exactly.
Silco, who's a main character without really being a main character. Like
Exactly.
he's critical to a lot of the stuff that happens throughout the series, but he's not necessarily like I said, a main character. But
Exactly.
you brought her up, you said the name, so let's discuss her a little bit. Now I'll tell the same story I told to you off air about my daughter
Absolutely.
and my daughters, and this is how I knew Arcane was something special, like kind of like the moment when I knew is when my
Mm-hmm.
daughter looks at me. I think it was right before, I think we watched like episode 7 and 8, and then we were taking a break and we were going to come back and watch episode 9 the next day. um And right after episode 8, we stop it, and my daughter looks at me and she's like, Daddy, Jinx, she's so awesome. Now I know a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, dude, take her to a psychiatrist. She's saying some shit like that. But no, like really, she was more commenting on how the character was written than a
Yes,
direct like
exactly.
of the character. But she's all calm and she knows what's going on. And I was like, nah, and I'm like, no, I was like, honey, that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want out of you emotionally, is to feel her pain from the moment that you see, like I'll tell you like this, like the moment, what's his name? Marcus was his name, the cop. The minute he snatches Vi, when she was going back for powder, I was just like, uh-oh, this is not going to end well at all. You know, and then years later, you get this broken woman that is Jinx, you know, that really was in a situation where she had to survive somehow, and taking to her, because, you know, Silco felt that abandonment connection kind of split Jinx and into Powder.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different angles running into the Jinx storyline, and I'll tell you now, from the outside looking in and from the inside looking out, Jinx has always been an extremely popular character, and for a very good fucking reason.
Yeah.
There's a song that is playing in one of her things when she's like fucking with the little blue fucking orb. I forget what it's called. The hex core. She's fucking with it, and the song is playing in the background. It's called Get Jinxed. It's from a song made entirely for Jinx by League from like 2016. So nice. That's a small little in joke right there. So if you ever want to, should tell her to go watch a video called Get Jinxed. It's a huge League of Legends project on YouTube.
Nice.
But that's a reference to that. But there's a lot of different angles to be running with the Jinx storyline here. But more importantly, the one from Silco is a super, super important one. And there's this ultra weird, like slightly sexual tension between the two of them.
Yes, there is 100%.
But at the same time, though, for what it's worth, without diving too much into it, by the end of it, Silco never ever forsakes Jinx.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. That no matter how much they tried to lead to it or anything like that, and even if when you go into the scene where he's drinking, Silco never says he's going to turn her in or go against her in any way, shape, or form, and he doesn't go back on that.
Yep.
And so this is one of the many cases of them presenting a really morally gray character, and Silco is fucking one of them, because for what it's worth, he had a right to fight for the Down Under, whatever the fuck.
No, yeah, the Undercity.
The Undercity.
The Undercity.
He had a right to fight for the Undercity.
I think it was Piltor was the name. Piltover was the name of the Upper City. Now let's get a little bit into that, because that was interesting. That led to a moment where I had to cover my little daughter's eyes because I didn't see it coming, even though I didn't really have to, but I did anyway because I'm dad.
Yeah.
Between the student turned councilman and the councilwoman, like that council in itself was pretty damn dope. That was just like, all right, yeah, that's pretty cool. You got these people like chilling there, and then they got to vote on everything, and everybody's got to agree. It was like, all right.
It's really interesting.
It was an interesting concept. But the dude who created Hexcore, I forget his name.
Jace. Victor.
Yes. Jason, man, that hammer, I need me one of them for the house. Like I just need me one of them for the home
protection.
You know, that shit was so dope. Like, is he a character in League of Legends?
I was gonna say, actually, one of the coolest things is seeing characters go from base state to the characters that we see them in League of Legends. And best of all was seeing Jace go from little whiny student to the Defender of Tomorrow, which is what he's called in League as a game.
Nice.
The fucking hex hammer, the hex core hammer, and it's just it's beautiful. And of course, transitioning a little bit, seeing Victor go from his measly version into Victor the Experiment Gone Wrong, which is the character he is in League that you play as.
Okay.
You see all these characters become different versions and everything like that. That's why in the game he is not Councilman Heimerdinger. He's just Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger, and they broke him down to just Heimerdinger now because he's no longer, by the end of the season, he was no longer that Heimerdinger.
He was no longer Councilman Heimerdinger.
Yep.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so by the time we get to episode 9, everybody's basically just become their characters from League.
For the most part, yes. There's a lot of characters that have yet to be introduced in the timeline that obviously have to hit their metamorphosis. And there's a few characters that are going to take a lot longer to metamorphosize. And there's a few characters that I don't even know if I want to tell you that they even become characters indirectly or directly or not. Because a lot of them are really off the fucking wall, and some of them are really predictable, but others not so much.
So let me ask you this: the dude in the zombie dude, is he a character in League?
Zombie dude.
The zombie dude, the dude that was taking the pink stuff. I can't remember his name. He was working with Silcor at the very beginning before he got killed by Vander. When Vander took the juice.
Which one? He was working for Silco?
He was working for Silco, and Silco had him drinking that shimmer.
Oh, no.
No, he's not a character.
That was more patient zero for that whole system. Okay. No, he is not.
Okay.
I will give you a hint, though. There is a character from that entire arc that does inadvertently kind of become a character.
Okay. Well, I'll say, okay. So here we go. So I've also read in multiple places that ARCANE has pretty much been solidified for a season 2.
Yeah.
So this I look forward to. One of many things I'm looking forward to being that I believe Cobra Kai is supposed to be having their season 4 release, and they've already been booked for season 5 by Netflix.
Absolutely.
Season 4 is supposed to drop sometime around Christmas, like sometime in the month of December. Man, there's so much too damn good TV to turn on right now.
Too much good shit to watch.
Pretty much. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to season 2 because I felt like we never really got a conclusion to the Powder Jinx storyline.
If it doesn't feel like the end of it, good, because it's not.
Okay.
What I like to tell people now is that for the most part, there's a lot of other characters that have a lot of changing to do. But when it comes to Jinx and Vi, I like to say, as we went through the show, like I was explaining to my beautiful girlfriend, I was explaining to her to Laura as well, telling her what's going on as well, because she was asking questions in the same way. And by the end of it, by the time we hit the finale and Jinx sends off her nuke, which, spoiler alert, as a small cool little tidbit, all of the things that characters do in this movie are things that they actually do in the game. In League of Legends, you have your ability sets. It's your 1, your 2, your 3, and your 4. You have 3 abilities and then your ult. 3 abilities, then your ult. For instance, Vi's dash is that knee she does when she runs up and knees Savika right in the fucking mouth.
Yeah.
That's her dash in League. Her 3 is that little uppercut she does, where she launches them like 3 feet into the fucking air that she did like 8 times throughout the show.
Yeah.
Jinx's ult. Her 4 is that little nuke she did at the end of the whole fucking show. That's Jinx's ult in the game, so it was really dope to see that.
Nice.
But sorry, I got completely off track there.
No, I feel you.
By the time we hit the end of the show, Jinx and Vi are what I would say 100% power.
Okay.
Jinx is now completely and 100% Jinx, and there's no going back to anything else. But more importantly, she's now brought back to life using Shimmer. So she's got that super speed, that super strength, and that ability to eat more bullets than a normal human being now. Not only that, now she has glowing purple eyes and she like glows purple shit when she fucking tears, when she cries, right? And now Vi, she's completely and 100% in possession of the big fucking gloves that she's known for now. So both characters are, for lack of a better term, at 100%.
Okay. So, all right. So we will get to see them face off hopefully in season 2, like at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I still believe as much as she is fully Jinx from the game mentally, there's still some powder left in there.
Oh yeah. Trust me, this is one of those we were born to fight forever type rivalries.
Awesome. I can't wait. All right, we're getting down to the closing moments of the episode, and as always, I like to let my friend have the last word. So Alpha, take us home, brother.
Of course. You know how it is. We're back again, finally off hiatus. Hopefully, getting right back into the swing of things. And next time, we're going to be hitting you with some wrestling. We're going to be talking some AEW and swinging back and talking about some Survivor Series. So catch us back around on the bend. And thanks for joining us for tonight. Peace.
Peace.